What's up, guys? Producer TCustomz with TCustomz.com, and today I'm going to break down this beat on my website. It's called Out of Sight. It's a hip hop beat, and I'm basically going to just step through the elements that went into it, from the drums to percussion to the bass sample and everything, and just show you how it came together. I'm also going to talk about two production techniques that I use in this beat. And I don't think I've talked about them before, and I think they're worth mentioning, so hopefully they'll help you out. So anyway, let's get into the beat. Alright, so I got the sample. These are the main pieces that I use for the beat. So one of the techniques I wanted to talk about was using a loop or reverse effect to kind of extend a short sample. And so what I did with this is, once I found the appropriate pitch and speed for the sample, I had a couple chops that I wanted to use that weren't exactly right, meaning that they cut off a little too early. So take this sample for example. It's a very short chop, and I didn't want to play it for a huge period of time, but I wanted to extend it a little more than just that short segment. So what I did in Ableton, I'm using the Ableton sampler, is there's a sustain mode. What you can do is you can set, it's essentially a loop, and as soon as the sample gets done playing, then it will go in reverse and start playing backwards. There's the sample. Now if I turn the sustain mode where it loops, then it continues to play and just loops back and forth. So what I did for the drums is, for my kick, I have 3 kicks layered. Layering is a great way to, again, beef up your drum sounds. And then for the snare, I have a snare and a clap layered. The sample and the drums. Alright, so I got a basic drum pattern going. Next thing I didn't do manual hi-hats. I ended up filtering a drum break just to give it more of a live feel in the hi-hats. So this is how it goes. So at this point, I went ahead and just added some more percussion. Added a crash cymbal, added an additional open hi-hat, and some shakers. So once I had the main sample sequence and the drums going, what I did was took these sample chops and made an alternate ending, just to kind of give it some variation throughout the beat. So alright, so next was the bass. A technique that I like to use for my bass lines is to basically double your basses. So you're running a couple different bass patches instead of just one. So that's what I did for this. I used the main patch for the sub bass, and then I actually used the exact same patch, but I just pitched it up an octave. And so layering your basses is a really good way, especially if you do different sounds, is a really good way to get custom bass patches. So once I had this much, had this main sequence with the bass and everything, then I went back to the original sample and tried to find some other chops that would work with the beat. So I found this sample, just filtered it a little differently, and added some delay to it. So at this point, I was looking to add some sort of a lead sound, namely for the hook. And so going back to layering your sounds, what I did for this synth is I actually have 3 different synths and layered them, and that's what makes up the hook. and then all together, this is what it sounds like. Another thing I did for one of the synth sounds is I actually ran it through a plugin called Guitar Rig. And maybe some of you all are familiar with it, but essentially what it does is it emulates all these vintage guitar amplifiers. But what's cool is you're not limited to guitar. You run any kind of sound through it, and essentially it has that amp effect on it. So that's kind of what I've been experimenting with a little bit. You can get some really cool sounds running vocals through it, and all kinds of stuff. But Guitar Rig is a really dope plugin for that kind of stuff. So what I did for the hook was I added 2 more elements to it. The first one was a vocal stab. Those of you who copped the TCustomz Vox Sample Kit Volume 1, this was in the bonus folder. And again, added some delay to it. And then also to bring up the energy a little bit, I added some additional hi-hats, do like a quick hi-hats that pan left to right. So this is what it sounds like. Last 2 things I did was I added a transition sound to transition into the chorus, and then the second thing was I added another synthesizer. I ran it again through Guitar Rig to give it some distortion, and I used the melody for the second part of the second verse, so just to give it some variation. So it sounds like this. So this pretty much gave me enough to work with and develop it into a full beat. Just a matter of arranging everything out, get everything arranged properly, and then just the mix, getting all the levels and everything right. So if you liked the video, if it was helpful, you took something away from it, feel free to like, comment, let me know what you thought, and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.